let's get this started with people. Forge. Now, Forge is the sequel to the Steeds of America trilogy first book, Chains. And of course, we're gonna have to talk about this book. Not this one, this one. So this goes to the bottom right now. But for now, let's talk about Forge. Now, why is it called Forge? It's called Forge because the setting is a place called Forge, and apparently the name is very obvious. Like, it's something Forge. It's called Valley Forge. And here's how the story goes. This video is the summary video if you've been wondering that. Now, Valley Forge is a place where Curzon, if you remember from the last book, Chains, where Isabel and Curzon, they're all like, hey, we're gonna escape, and Curzon's under fever. He finally recovers on the journey towards the boat. According to the prologue, they don't call it the prologue though, they call it before. It's basically said that, hey, Isabel and I fought together, and I said, hey, I'm gonna go get a job. And then he's gonna say, oh no, we've been robbed, and so we're gonna have to come with me because we have no other way to make a job and living. And that happens. Next thing that seems to work out is that Isabel ran away first before Curzon could lie. And then the next thing that seems to happen is that Curzon joins an army, fakes that he's a free black man, which he's promised to be, and then suddenly his owner is all like, hey, yes, I did say that, but it's not happening right now. And he's all like, well, that's unfair! And he has big temper issues. He meets a lot of white guys, and he becomes friends with them. There's this big bad bully called Burns, and and apparently Curzon's old master thought he was dead, and then when Curzon came back, his master was like, Curzon, nice! The Congress wants to meet you and see the situation about us. And the leader, the bully called Burns, is all like, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? And then falls into sick with smallpox. He dies. What a nice tragedy, and what a nice irony. Even though he's not going to report it, because turns out all of that was a trick, so that Curzon could become a slave again. And we all know that slavery is a moral evil. Next thing that seems to happen is that, well, Curzon is trying to figure out how to escape, and figures out that his master, and his master's name is basically Bellingham, not Bellington as I almost called him, which is why I stopped right there. Now Bellingham is all like, hey, I bought this girl Isabel and see how she's doing. It's been a year since they've looked at each other, so yeah. And then for the next 2 months this happens. They're all like, we hate each other. And then finally, they go ahead and try to talk about escape. And then Isabel shows Curzon the collar, and he needs to figure out how to make a key or steal the key without Bellingham knowing, which is very improbable because the key is always here, around Bellingham's neck. And then one day, finally, there's this guy named Daniel, and he's all like, hey, Isabel, I'm gonna let you escape, but we can't go get Ruth right now because, like, hey, it's very, very unlikely that they'll just give her to us. And so she's all like, yeah, I agree with you. Unlike this bonehead right here, chicken-hearted man. And that happens. She runs away and realizes that there is no ghost, according to her, no ghost following her, which is kind of improbable to me. And then feels like, hey, Daniel, he's a British spy? Yeah, no thank you. Runs away, goes back to Curzon. Curzon's like, wait, what just happened? Am I dreaming? And he's like, no, you're not dreaming, dumbhead. Let's just get this plan going ahead. I have a mold for the key. Oh, nice, that happens. They wait a week for the mold to harden. And then when Curzon takes it out, it's just a thin piece of lead with a lot of sand stuck on it, which is practically nothing. So the key didn't work, the mold didn't work out. And the final thing that happens is Curzon is almost killed by Bellingham. Isabel saves Bellingham, saves Curzon by bashing Bellingham in the head with a shovel. That must hurt. And they're all like, hey, let's just make him run. Let's run away right now. Wait. Okay, wait. But I'm going to bash him on the head first, Isabel says. And Curzon's all like, wait a second. He takes the key off Bellingham's chain as he's still unconscious, unlocks the iron collar off Isabel first, and then they put the iron collar on Birmingham so that he's stuck connected to a rod so that he can sit but he can't stand up and everything else, and they tie him up pretty good, and they even gag him so no one will know for quite a long time. Then they escape. They pretend they're sergeants. They're privates in an army in the nearby army that Curtin was part of as a private, and he's enlisted to the army for the end of the war. So yeah, he's stuck with them, and especially his best pal Esben does a romantic thing just before the romantic thing of Isabel, as after he explains what the meaning of his name, and wow, we're there. They throw the key. Oh yeah, one more thing. They throw the key away into the river so that they'll have a hard time trying to unlock that darn thing, or have a much better time trying to cut the darn iron thing open, which is much more dangerous. And then that's where the story ends, and that is where the whole thing will start again in the next adventure. Finally, I can find that little poster, which is at the end. Yeah, here we go. And the Ashes, which won't be published until 2016, which is 6 years after this darn thing's published. I keep having to edit the dates on these things, though. So here we are. Finally, in the next episode, I'll analyze the book Forge. See you guys then. Shout out, Forge!